The holly green, the ivy green, the prettiest picture you've ever seen. It's Christmas in Killarney with all of the folks at home. It's nice, you know, to kiss your beau and cuddling under the mistletoe. And Santa Claus, you know, of course, is one of the boys from home. The door is
all right, happy holidays. Not quite Merry Christmas. We haven't even celebrated Christ the King yet. But it is Thanksgiving week officially, I suppose. Notre Dame kills Boston College 44-0, and anyone who thought Notre Dame would not cover the spread, shame on you, you unbelievers. Go to confession, all of you. Welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful Show. I am Joe, your humble host at faithful_Irish on the Twitter. You can find the show on all your podcast places, the YouTube channel, Fighting Irish Faithful. Episode 26, Season 3, Volume 78, if anyone's actually counting. But yeah, it was really awesome to see Notre Dame have a victory for the seniors, and I guarantee you the seniors will remember this game for the rest of their lives, with the weather being a factor, which was very, very fun for the fans. Maybe not so much for people in the stands. So we're going to go ahead and jump to someone new here. We've invited a new person to speak at Irish Tightness on the Twitter. You've been invited to speak. If you so wish, you can accept and hit the pink button on the lower left-hand corner if you wish to join us tonight to contribute to the Fighting Irish Faithful show. If not, you just want to listen to us live, that is totally fine too. You do you, wherever you are, where you are. But Irish Tightness, are you here? I hear you. Oh, you're on mute. Go ahead and hit the pink button, lower left-hand corner.
Mic is on. Mic is hot.
Welcome to the show, sir.
How are you, man?
I am doing well. Welcome back to Twitter. If anyone doesn't know who Irish Tightness is, shame on you. This is the Professor Emeritus of #RTDB, back from sabbatical and back on Twitter, which is awesome, right before it potentially shuts down.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I think Twitter's not going anywhere.
I don't think so either. It's a website. Like, what happens? It just gets buggy? I don't know.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Spend $44 million and let something shut down? I don't see it.
We can put rockets into space, but we can't run a website. Oh, by the way, we run a car company because that's easy. Yeah. Irish Tightness, welcome back to Twitter, and welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful show. We are honored to have you, sir. What do you think of this Boston College game?
Yeah, it's good. Look, I mean, I haven't seen much Notre Dame football. When I say much, I mean basically any in like 2.5 years. I got to the end of the Brian Kelly era and just said, hey, I've seen enough. I don't, I've lost faith in this guy. And from an emotional investment standpoint, I'm no longer willing to invest emotional capital in it. That's fine. I started coaching high school and doing some other stuff and got my fits other places. Yeah, I've casually, I casually watched maybe the half of the first half against Ohio State. Was on at a party I was at my brother's house. Look, I thought Notre Dame looked good. They look like they belong, which they didn't always do in big games against Ohio State, like the Fiesta Bowl or something. But
right.
I wasn't prepared to really go. I didn't need it in my life. Right? That wasn't an itch that I needed scratched by Notre Dame. Oddly enough, we made an early departure in sectionals for our team, and I found myself on a weekend where I wasn't coaching football. Sat down, watched the Clemson game, and I was like, "Hey, man, this Freeman guy's got it dialed in. They look great.
They looked fantastic in Clemson. Fantastic.
That's what you would. That's what you expect from a legitimate Notre Dame team.
Yes.
I recognize that they've had some losses and some other issues throughout this year. Okay, it's not the perfect season, but look, I mean, this is a fantastic foundation to build, from which to build upon. Everything that I've heard about Freeman appears to be, legit. I mean, I'm looking at, if it's a stock, Notre Dame broke out. I bought the breakout against Clemson. I'll be honest, I didn't invest a whole lot of time in Navy because it sounds like the game was exactly what I would have thought it was going to be, which is an ugly win. Everybody on Twitter, agonizes and is, it's excruciating. It's a Navy game. It's the root canal of football games.
That's a great way to. You got to get through it. It's necessary.
Just win. Just win. Just get out of there. You can have the debate: should Notre Dame still be playing them or not?
Well, I had my fair share of. It was a legit Twitter fight, and said person I clearly unfollowed. But people are rational. It's like people wanting more out of the quarterback play, and then I just turn stats on them and say, actually, Pine had his best game in the Navy game if you want to just look at the first half. But, okay, I guess he sucks. He threw 4 touchdowns. But, look, that's not why Notre Dame, allowed Navy to come back. Navy came back because it's the fucking Naval Academy. But I want to hear the rest of your story. So Notre Dame, ekes out a win against Navy, then goes in and back home, senior night, against BC, and then a crazy snowstorm, and we killed them.
Yeah, look, and Pine, look, I don't know. It's funny because I don't know the roster. Like, I used to know every recruit, every player up and down, everybody who transferred. I legitimately have not paid attention for 2.5 years. I remember a couple of the guys, Tyree, some of the seniors. I remember them early on in their careers. But all these other guys, I don't know. I don't know anything about them. Here's what I do know. I flip the thing on. I say, okay, Navy, it is what it is. You just get out of there with a win, and you come back out against a team like Boston College ready to prove a point, right? Because the whole team and the coaching staff feels like, we let a couple get by us earlier in the year, coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't against Stanford or whoever, but we got something to prove now. We just beat Clemson. We're on people's radar. We got our own destiny in front of us. Like, let's go out and make a statement. So as it relates to that, look, they did what they needed to do. I'm looking at, again, like you said, the RTDB hashtag Godfather, the big three, right? Your big three running backs. These 3 guys combined have 32 carries for 243 yards at 7.6 yards per carry between Diggs, Estime, and Tyree. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn, and 4 TDs.
Well, I think that's a model of Notre Dame football that the fan base can embrace, and it's certainly like when there's question marks at the quarterback position or even the receivers for that matter. Mike Mayer notwithstanding, but when you have 3 guys, Diggs, Estime, Tyree, like. And furthermore, if you go back further, to the spring game, who's the star in the spring game? It was actually Price, and he got injured. And so if he hadn't got injured, there'd be a potential 4th guy. But you said it right. Look, this is what Notre Dame football has typically been based on, and like this is where our program is. And to see Freeman and even Tommy Reese of all, I can't believe I'm saying this, but to actually see him embrace the strength of the team, especially when it matters, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, look, you got to get reps for Pine. I don't know is he a senior or if he's a trainer. Like, I remember Cohn was a transfer. I don't know much about him, but he's not okay. He's not like a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, but and that's fine. He is who he is. But you got a good line. It's very reminiscent of like the Josh Adams, McGlinchey, 33 trucking model, right? Which is like, hey.
Anyone who has a hat,
Yeah, give the ball to a running back, and especially in a game like this when it's cold, you don't want all this finesse bullshit. Like just run the ball, right?
Just run the ball.
Feels great.
First quarter, first possession, I'm cussing at the TV. I got a toddler in the house, so maybe it's not cussing; it's cussing by my standards. But like, seriously, we're like, why the fuck are you passing early in the game, especially when it's stupid cold? And we haven't even tried running the ball against a terrible rush defense team that is Boston College. Wes, I don't know how much you've listened to the show, but Boston College is atrocious. And this show, we tend to compare Notre Dame to legit good teams, and we look at the stats of Notre Dame versus their opponent. And so we try to be numbers based, which I've gotten shit for actually looking at numbers, but whatever, Jesus loves those people too. But at the same time, it's like Notre Dame should have run the hell all over Boston College, and they did.
Yeah, look, if you think about Navy, I mean, look, it's hard to run on Navy. They're undersized. They don't have the talent, yada, yada. But think of how many reps their defense takes against runs in a week of practice.
Yep.
Like, that's all they do. That's all they do. So these guys are good at reading and tackling. I mean, because they have the option coming back at them nonstop. I mean, they're playing scout against their own option team. Like, they know how to tackle, run. The best thing about this is that if you look at a team like BC, who nobody likes, who's not talent laden, the best way to humiliate them is not throwing the ball all over the field. I mean, look, 44-0 on its face value as a score is a humiliating score. But the way you do it, just running the ball, I mean, again, your big three running backs, 1 out of every 8 times those 3 guys touched the ball was a rushing touchdown. That's a good way to do it. They got into some stuff. There was a point in time where it's 2nd and 1 from the 6-yard line, and they threw it. And I'm like, look, man, it's 2nd and 1 on the 6, and you're fucking throwing, in a blizzard. You're just asking to get picked off or something stupid happened there. Then the next play they came back and ran it in. And that's fine. Look, I'm happy to watch a team that performs like this. I think the sky's the limit for them going forward. Maybe it's not this year. Maybe I don't know enough about the bowl season. If they're in New Year's Six conversation, probably not. But look, I mean, Freeman is energetic. He's optimistic. He's recruiting at a high level.
Yes.
They're gonna drop the ball here and there. In some big games.
Yes.
Or maybe not. They'll just. The Stanford type games, whatever. But at the end of the day, Marshall, God, I didn't even watch that, thank God. But
I was at the game, so let's. If anyone didn't catch the Marshall post game show, that was. It was one of our better shows on this podcast. I will say that, but at the same time, that game was atrocious to go to.
I'm fully aware people like the screaming and you're playing Prodigy Firestarter and you're cussing Brian Kelly and people enjoy the outrage, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be outraged. I just want to tune in and to a team I used to love, and I just want to see a good product and feel like if I'm going to invest a little bit of my afternoon in it, I'm rewarded for that. So far, I feel like that's the case. It's a good thing, dude. It's fun to watch Notre Dame when they're playing like this, and you can put whatever quarterback you want out there. Doesn't matter if you're handing the ball off. You got dudes like Ben Moore out here picking dudes off left and right. Hey, he's a guy that I would want to tune in and watch them play for 2 or 3 more years.
Absolutely. That's a bright spot on that defense by far with Benjamin Morrison. And you said it. I mean, I would totally rather do podcasts after a game like this, a win, a game that we blow out, a rival in Boston College. From the get-go, Notre Dame just destroys them. Notre Dame scored on their first 8 possessions in a row. Grant, some of those were field goals, but we still scored. Points went on the board. And I would rather do post-game shows after that than, Stanford or Marshall or what have you, and I appreciate the Prodigy Firestarter after the damn Duke game of 2016. But no, you're 100% right. To see Notre Dame, from where they are right now to where, there were some real rocky spots this season. And now we go into the biggest game potentially of the year against a really hated rival in USC, between them and Michigan. I mean, and in this house, we also hate Miami. But, I'm from the Los Angeles area. I absolutely detest USC. So for Notre Dame to beat one of those 2 teams right now, and then looking forward to next week to take on the Trojans, I'm excited. The sky's the limit, and look, I didn't do any predictions, but I did the analysis over the last 20 years, and who are the coaches that are worth a crap, who win big at their programs. On average, they win 8 games a year, and we've done that right now. So right now, anything else after that is we're flying above the radar, and Notre Dame's looking good. Well, Wes at Irish Tightness, welcome back to Twitter. We really appreciate you jumping on the Fighting Irish Faithful show. Welcome back to Twitter. I'm not going to say that this podcast brought you back. It's probably Coach Freeman and the rest of the Notre Dame program doing well. So welcome back, and thank you for your contribution and your energy and passion. Feel free to stay on as long as you want, or chime in if I speak garbage, and we go from there. Let's jump over to Adam Dowling, who's probably warming up around the fire here at Adam_Dowling1 on the Twitter, maybe from the North Lot, hopefully. Adam, bring you back here. Is it still snowing in South Bend, or maybe you have to find a hotel room, or you're going to sleep in your car while we wait for I-90 to get plowed down so you can drive yourself home back towards Chicagoland? But at Adam Dowling1, you've been invited to speak. Adam, you're muted. Unmute. Pink button, man.
Hello.
Yo!
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go for it.
All right, cool. On the toll road, stuck in one-lane traffic, not fun.
Oh, no. So are you at least moving greater than 10 miles an hour?
We're barely moving. Barely.
There you go. So how was it being
like
being in the stadium while it was snowing?
It was fun. It was cool.
Was it fun? It looked fun.
Yeah. It was like seeing those gold helmets against the snow. They looked awesome.
Yeah. I mean, like anything like adverse weather per se, anything from snow to rain or whatever, as long as there's not a safety issue, like lightning or whatever. But like seriously, like with crazy weather, like I mean, it gets weird, and it's like, then you really also see like who's making excuses and who's stepping up to the plate per se.
Yeah. It was no, it's definitely a good game. I actually think the weather was much worse in 18 when they played Florida State at night when it was this cold. I think that night was cold.
Oh, the when we got we didn't quite get a pick six early in that game, but that was a pretty early interception. That's a game Notre Dame won by 29, 42-13. Oh.
Yeah, that was a real cold game too.
Man. So
see them play a full.
Go ahead. Don't get pulled over by a, patrol officer there. Oh, you're breaking up pretty bad. Adam. Yeah, Adam, we're going to put you on hold. Wait till you get out of, I don't know, wherever you are in western St. Joseph County. We're going to mute you for a second. We'll go ahead and jump over to Jam here. Adam, come back to us when you get better cell reception. We'll bring you back on. But first, let's jump to Jam at Jamiko703. You've been invited to speak. Jam, welcome back to the Fighting Irish Faithful show. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Gosh, this is, I'm feeling really good after Notre Dame's beaten Boston College. How are you feeling?
No, absolutely. And I was ready at halftime to head out to LA and let's strap it on and play at SC.
Yeah, they have a
wanted
late
that
game
game
tonight.
to get over. No injuries. Let's roll.
Yeah, that's right.
Great performance, and the historically energy on senior day has been a little bit of an up and down because it is a emotional day for so many in the locker room. But they came out strong. I agree with what you guys said initially. I thought, sometimes Tommy Rees needs to read the room. That first drive, you have them on their heels, keep them on their heels.
Yeah, why the hell is you passing when you get down to the red zone? It's like, what are you doing?
But even that, the alignment in their stances for 20 seconds, come on. You're blowing them off the line. Let's go.
Just push forward, plow through, and you've got, anyone from Diggs to Estime or even Tyree clearly can get through there. What are you waiting for? Just do it.
I say the big pieces down now, just the consistency. We still, let's put all 4 quarters together. It was great defense. Benjamin Morrison, holy cow.
Yeah.
Learned a fun fact today that Tom Carter is his godfather.
Tom Carter.
Of Irish fame back in the first round pick of the Redskins and the Commander. Yeah, so his dad had played with Tom Carter at Washington and Arizona, and Reggie Brooks was a teammate of his in Washington. So pretty cool stuff there.
All right.
No, he played great. I'll tell you one thing I wanted to talk to a little bit for a second. I don't know if anybody caught the Michigan game, but you watch these games, and I'm not the refs, but it's when you look at the targeting calls that are called against us, the teams seem to get away with, and then you look at some of these penalties. Michigan on that 4th down play, it was a egregious pick play. LSU ran the same play against Bama in overtime that Kelly had run against FSU in Tallahassee. That we got called for.
Now I want to hurt myself when you talk about that.
Reinforces the conspiracy theories related to protecting the conferences and all that thing. Again, Brett Bielema went off, and I'm going to be interested to see if he gets fined or suspended because he spoke to it being rigged or for money today. So,
serious.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but it just. And historically, the Pac-12 officials have not been kind to the Irish. So that I think we get ACC refs, though, if I'm not mistaken, next week.
Yeah, I mean, and that doesn't give me much confidence after watching ACC refs where Maris Leafout, in my opinion, clearly picks up a fumble and runs it back for a touchdown. For some reason, it's just like, oh, it's just a turnover, and Notre Dame picks it up. Like, that's not actually what happened, but okay, fine. Screw you guys. I mean, my piece about officiating has always been like, look, it's just another element of the game, and you can't let something like officiating really overcome it. There's very few exceptions to the rule. I think it was actually, of all things, a Purdue game where it came down to a last-second call, and the game that you so mentioned, the Florida State game in 2014, where it came down to a last-second call, where it was kind of on the fence, and in my opinion, it could have gone either way. And my thought is, regardless of whether or not there's offensive pass interference, has no impact on the actual play, and Florida State being stupid, but regardless, officiating aside, it's something you have to overcome. You have to do better than it, regardless of which way, the officiating swings. It's just another element of the game, just like weather. Okay. Both teams kind of deal with the weather. In theory, both teams should be dealing with the officiating. And that's just my opinion. So, but yeah, I mean, to see Notre Dame beat up on Boston College 40-0, I mean, anyone who does not like the backup college, and if you listen to our show earlier in the week or some of the chatter on Twitter about some of the name calling, I'll just put it that way, for BC, there was some creativity out there. I'll put it that way.
No, and it's a tough game. It's a trap game when you have BC looming ahead, and from a preparation standpoint with 18 to 22-year-olds, keeping them focused on the task at hand. Credit to Coach Freeman and his staff.
Yeah, I mean, 44-0, and I mean, and at the end of the day, it's kind of garbage time, and the snow's coming down and all that. I have no issues with Notre Dame just scoring 7 points in the second half, and especially since they blanked Boston College the entire game. To let those seniors leave with no points for the opponent in their house when they graduate, when they leave, right? You can't ask for anything better than that, right? Last year I think we blanked Georgia Tech. I know in 2012 we blanked Wake Forest. I think it was 38-0 or something like that. But yeah, I'm happy to see Notre Dame just get out there and just kill the opponent. I mean, I'm happy with that.
No, and I think Groupie making a couple kicks is good going into SC as well. He needed that from a confidence standpoint. And doing those elements was impressive too. So.
Yeah. And what was that long one? Like 46 yards? I mean, yeah.
Right.
And that's tough to do when it's a cold ball, and it's like it's like kicking a 7-pound medicine ball out down there. That ball is hard as literally a rock. It's literally an ice ball. Hopefully they're keeping it in a hot cooler like you do with your brisket or your pork belly or whatever the hell you're grilling. For the people grilling exotic things on Thanksgiving coming up this week. But yeah, no, you said it. Groupie had a good game. Kicking long field goals and helping our team win, no doubt.
I did think it was interesting. I think it was what do you call the Dallas coach and the commentating, the old Dallas coach, when Reese on his senior day, Doug Flutie talked him into wearing gloves, on the sidelines before the game, and then the Pine taking his gloves off after the first drive. That you think you'd have that figured out before game time, but nevertheless, there we go.
I mean, if he didn't practice with gloves on or whatever, it's like
right,
like you don't just throw something new in there just because it's a little cold. It's just like, look, you played football, and I mean, shit, Pine's from Connecticut of all places. I imagine he's played in some cold weather. Maybe not exactly a game like this, but that also wouldn't surprise me if he didn't. But at the same time, it's like, look, like weather is weather, what it is. And at one hand, I was like, look, we had Minchney, our potential quarterback recruit who was there, and on one side of my brain, I'm like, oh, geez, look, we got a recruit from Tennessee, and he's here, and now he's seeing the shit weather in South Bend, and then like that ain't gonna go well. But then to see the team perform, and then to see like the energy on the sideline just seemed to get better, and I'm just like I even got excited watching from home, and I'm just like, yeah, let's do this, and so my hope is that Minchney or any of these recruits or anyone who's there who's like, wait a second, playing a game in the snow, this is kind of one of those things, and it's totally a highlight reel thing for ESPN. Not that we really give it two shits about ESPN on this show, but at the same time, it's like, that could actually work in your recruit's favor. It's like, look, you may play in a fun game like this. This is a unique thing. And, if you're going to go play at the next level, you may play like a game like this in Cleveland or Chicago or Buffalo or, Gillette Stadium, whatever. This kind of stuff happens. Lambeau, shit, not Minnesota, Denver, right? There are games you can play in the snow in the NFL, and who knows what's going to happen, this Sunday or whatever. So I'm just happy Notre Dame gets out there with a win, and a commanding win at that.
Yeah. And don't overthink the recruiting piece. We scored a Mormon linebacker from Hawaii during that Syracuse game years ago. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. And I was at that game, and that was pretty miserable with that Syracuse game. Well, Jam, anything else, or we're gonna see if we can jump back to someone else.
Let's beat SC. And Tommy Reese, stay out of your own way. Don't overthink it. Run downhill on them.
Yeah, just run the ball.
All right, appreciate you as always.
All right, Jim, at Jamico703 on the Twitter. Thank you for joining the Fighting Irish Faithful Show. Always invited, always welcome. Really appreciate your input on the show. This is a post-game show, the snowy show. If anyone's in the snow, by all means, you're welcome to jump on. Let's see here. Let's jump over to Justin Cates. Tingles and Tequila down in Arizona. At Justin Cates on the Twitter. You've been invited to speak and join us on the Fighting Irish Faithful show. Notre Dame did cover the spread and exceeded your expectations of 45-17. Justin Cates.
What's happening, man?
What's up, man? I will say this. If you were my head of marketing for the Etsy show, we'd have a private conversation about your performance, because we have not been making strides on the Etsy store.
Well, let me just say this then, okay? Everyone listening right now, this is important you realize this. Without the success of Etsy, Notre Dame's success on the field goes away. I I can't back that up. I don't. That's not real.
That's okay. These
But
are
let's
outrageous
pretend.
claims.
Let's support. Let's support. Okay. So, and I'll tell you right now. I'll let you behind the curtain. My wife got laid off a little bit ago.
That's not good.
No, it's okay. She got a new job.
Do we need to start a GoFundMe? Oh wait, no.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I mean, we'll promote that kind of stuff.
No, everything's good. She just got actually got like essentially a promotion.
Woohoo!
At her new job.
Twitter shout out to Mrs. Justin Cates.
Yeah, Mrs. Justin Cates. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that you guys are dealing with snow. My son, who's 6 years old this morning, we won the championship, little Pee Wee football.
Nice.
Yeah, so shout out to Jeremiah. So that started off good. It was like 73 degrees. So it's been wonderful.
Neener. Very nice.
So,
what part of Arizona, if I may ask, is this like Flagstaff, the Phoenix area?
I'm in Gilbert. Yeah, I'm a suburb of Phoenix called Gilbert. So we're like southeast.
Yeah. Okay. So, good.
Yeah. So
like Tempe, kind of, sorta, not really.
No, it's like I would like south and east of Tempe.
Okay.
We're like 30 minutes away from the airport.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're like in a suburb out there. A lot of. I mean, if you've been to Phoenix, everything's just a large suburb.
Yeah.
So
I'm more familiar with farther south, the Tucson area. We have good friends, former neighbors that are down there. It's nothing but aguaro cactuses and the border patrol down there, but and cowboy land down there. But beautiful country. And of course the Wildcats are that's their home base. But anyway, enough of Arizona. Let's turn it around closer to the Flagstaff area.
The cover.
Benjamin Morrison, 3 interceptions.
He's not from Flagstaff. He's from Phoenix.
No, but he's kind of sort of close near you, right?
Oh, we're close. So, well, the thing is, and Brophy Prep is an ideal fit for Notre Dame. And as Arizona's been growing forever, but there's a lot of talent here.
Nice.
A lot of big schools out here. But I wanted to say Tinkles and Tequila hits it again. Said they'd cover.
Yep.
Now, Boston College did not get the 17. The blizzard probably, may have.
You sound so disappointed that Boston College didn't score.
Well, I root for myself sometimes, but but I will say I just sometimes I think, and every person has sort of commented on it, it's a real weird. Like I don't know what's going on up in the booth with the offense sometimes. Now, overall, it worked great today, but the first quarter just seemed like, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. Like, what are we trying to prove here?
Yeah, it's like, why are you not doing the obvious thing that would work?
Yeah. Let's demoralize them now. What are we waiting for? By the way, I also said Foskey would get the record today, which he did.
Yes.
So,
congratulations. Credit all to you, Justin Cates.
That was No, but I think being from Arizona and playing football in college and it being hot and no one down here, and I think it's sort of a misconception. No kid out here, I don't think, maybe it's different in the South, but the kids out West aren't going to be really bothered by the snow. It's sort of like a novelty for us,
I'm with you.
So you watch that game, sort of like you said, like that's something that's going to be on the highlight reels forever.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's all over Twitter. The game is from, just the pictures of it. It's awesome. It's great.
Well, and it makes kind of that cinematography kind of vibe, and you're not wrong when you talk about the players from out west, and this is talking to someone who's from the Los Angeles area, i.e. me, who left the LA area to go to Gonzaga and then went further east to Notre Dame for grad school and then just never left the Midwest, right? for me, it was like snow was kind of one of those things. It's like, look, I just want to live in a different climate, and that's why I left home for college.
Where there's seasons, right? There's no seasons where we're from.
Yeah,
there is no fall.
To quote, the movie Swingers, it is sunny almost every single day, right?
Yeah.
And I never really appreciated that until I left, per se. And then when I go back to visit family, like we took the baby back to visit, his grandmother, or excuse me, his great grandmother, my grandmother, who's 99. Okay. And for me, it was like, look, like I got a new baby. We've got to have,
We gotta get
photos
out there.
of him and grandma, because we don't know when the Lord's going to call her home. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, look, we just got to do this. And then of course, the 100 is coming up. But anyway, for back to your point about, snow kind of being a novelty, like, you're not wrong when you say that. It's like it doesn't like bother you, like, it's going to be cold. You don't know what that feels like, so you're kind of in for a rude awakening. And I can say with hands on sacred scripture that the coldest I've ever been has been in South Bend, Indiana. And my wife, the doc, who is from Eastern Washington, like near the Rocky Mountains, right? Spokane, Washington. So she's grown up with ice storms and snow and all these other things. The coldest she's ever been has been in South Bend, where she was literally crying as we're walking from the car through a Meijer parking lot into Meijer just to get like milk or God knows what when she was like visiting me once. It's just like she's literally crying like of how cold she was, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" Yeah, that's the the great wild north of Indiana, and it's like. So, like, you kind of expect that at Notre Dame, that, yes, the weather is not great, but that's not really why you choose to go there. Like, anyone who chooses to go to Notre Dame for the weather may need their head examined, and maybe they should renege on said scholarship.
Well, and did you see what Benjamin Morrison was wearing?
I know he had, it looked like some Under Armour, like...
And some I don't know how you saw it. There's like a baklava. You're from Arizona where you get baklava and then a baklava. I think one's
dessert?
like a Greek
like
pastry.
The pastry?
One's like a pastry and one is like something that keeps your head warm,
Okay. I'll just roll with you here.
It's okay to wear that stuff, man. It's cold. Put it on.
Oh, sure.
Give me a break.
Whatever.
Everyone's going to be okay.
I still don't understand how some of these guys don't have anything at least on their arms. Like, you don't have to have the hoodie thing, on your head, but man, just to have nothing on your arms. Like, I mean, Grant, I don't have muscles like some of these dudes on the O line, right? But at the same time, I'm like, man, I don't know how you're dealing with that right now.
It's like when you stub your toe and it's cold. It's like the worst thing ever. It's like if your toe's warm, you're okay. But if it's cold, it's like you think like you may need to go to the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, it's like when things are cold, it hurts worse. So
I'm with you there.
But I don't know. I thought they played well. I loved watching the second half. The snow, they're running the ball. I loved watching Estime just put that, and to be honest, Diggs, they ran physical.
Yeah.
Both of them did, and I think that bodes well.
I mean, Diggs averaged 8.1 yards per carry. Estime averaged 6.5 yards per carry. And Tyree averaged 8.3 yards per carry. All of them had, at least 5 touches. Tyree had 6. Diggs had 15. Estime had 11. So, like if your, quote, worst running back is averaging 6.5 yards per carry, man, sign me up. Now, granted, Boston College is not good at defense per se. That's just kind of how things roll with that football team. They're not a good football team. Their rushing defense right now going into this game was 82nd in the country. Allowing 157 yards, but Notre Dame ran all over them.
Yeah, and I'm so tired. I have a lot of family. We talked about this in Southern California, and they're all about, Notre Dame's going to get crushed. I don't know how they think they're going to stop this running game. If Clemson couldn't do it,
Yeah.
I'm not sure USC's got the personnel to figure this out.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this, I do not underestimate the Trojans under Lincoln Riley when I'll be the first to admit that, and I've said this before in a previous show, that when SC hired Lincoln Riley, I actually felt like they ponied up, they went out there, they got a legit football coach who, was ready to step up to a new level with, different boosters and a different program with better weather and clearly better talent out there in Southern California. And so I was like, shit, and that's not me being like concerned per se, but it's more like, okay, we need to recognize this. I have yet to do the analysis of the Trojans. I guarantee you we will do that this week going into the Tuesday night show. So anyone who's listening tonight or on the podcast version, we will have a live show on Tuesday breaking down Notre Dame versus SC. Hopefully UCLA can get the better of them, just because I hate the men of Troy. But no, you're not wrong. When people that are fans of SC, it just makes it worse.
They're the worst. They're the absolute worst. The USC fan, I mean, it's like they're Laker fans. It's like, you're a Lakers fan, but when they stink.
Lakers fan, but I mean, I will say this: I am a Lakers fan, but look, I really haven't watched a Laker game in years, ever since Kobe retired or whatever. And it's just kind of like, and when I moved away, it's kind of part of the thing. But I just haven't really watched the NBA in X number of years, and it's just like LeBron there, like he doesn't get my mojo going. And it's just like, and I don't dislike LeBron. It's just more like, look, anyone who wants to watch, old basketball, right? Go watch the Lakers versus the Sacramento Kings of the early 2000s. That's legit basketball.
With Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah, and the Kings, with
Peja and Mike Bibby.
No, what's his face? Dude went to Michigan. Gosh.
Oh, Weber.
Yeah, Weber. Right, Weber played for the Kings. Some of these other guys, that's legit basketball. Or watch Magic and those guys, from the late 80s, or even go watch Michael Jordan and the Bulls versus the Utah Jazz. That was a great back and forth over the years. Like those kind of games. Like, to me, that was the NBA, and that's what I grew up with. And like, you watch the NBA now, it's nothing like that. It's all this like everyone just jacking threes and people traveling and no one calling it, and it's just not entertaining for me. And so that's why I watch Gonzaga basketball, a real college basketball school who unfortunately hasn't won a title yet. But regardless, so I'm more of a college basketball person, and do you
feel like Gonzaga just has to keep on knocking, and one day the door is going to fall in, or what?
Well, and we thought that back in 2020, when in the spring of 2021, wife was 6+ months pregnant, right? And anyone who remembers that, the entire tournament was in the Indianapolis area. That's where we live. And so we're just watching it, and Gonzaga's doing really well. They're undefeated. And, they go all the way. They beat UCLA in the semis, which was amazing. And so I turned to the doc and say, like, look, Gonzaga's going all the way, and they're going to play Baylor. We have to go to this game. And it's like, we may we'll regret it if they win and we're not there, because we're never going to get this opportunity to watch a team like this ever again. I don't want to. Maybe they will in the future, but there's no guarantee of that. And so we spent some significant money. We went to the game. Doc was the DD and all that stuff, and then Gonzaga gets shellacked, and it was like. I'm gonna give a shout out to at Irish Titanus here, because this is his thing. That was a death bucket for Gonzaga. Any Gonzaga fan, and I met a bunch of them who were from the West Coast, who flew out to Indianapolis to watch Gonzaga potentially beat Baylor, and they got smoked. 2 minutes into that game, and it was, oh shit, we are in over our head. We are drowning. And Gonzaga was in the death bucket. And there was nothing we could do but just go back down to the concourse and get more overpriced beer. There was nothing we could do, and we just got smoked. And like, it was fun to be at the game and in that environment, but like, we're listening to like Claire de Lune, Debussy music going home, or, you know, Deep Purple, Child in Time, just like sad rock music going home. Like, that's the kind of crap we were listening to driving home, and it was terrible. And I haven't felt that bad after a championship game. Not nearly as bad as the Notre Dame versus Alabama game in 2012, because that one just came out of nowhere, you know. So at least the feeling was quote unquote familiar for me as a Gonzaga fan, you know, who also cheers for Notre Dame. So fooled you. That's me.
Yeah, many times has Gonzaga stolen some money from me on a bracket. You know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got a degree from the place, so I'm a little biased here, and yeah, I'm like, shit, Gonzaga's in the top 5. Like, how did that happen? You know, this year, like, I only know like 2 of the players. You know. But anyway, Justin Cates, we're gonna jump on to someone else. Any thoughts here on this BC game, or you just want to save all your comments for the pregame Trojan game next week?
Yeah, you know, and I haven't come up with the score yet, but I will just say I think this was a great, like, this is sort of how you would want to go into the USC game.
Absolutely.
And so I was glad it sort of came to fruition. Shutout, ran the ball, you know.
And played in snow, something you'll never see in the Coliseum.
Yeah. And by the way, Maryland's only down by 3 right now. So
I did see that when we started. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, man. Well, as always, big fan. Head to the Etsy store now that my wife got a job back. I'll be going to the Etsy store. I'm going to make some purchases.
Nice,
guys.
Appreciate it.
The USC game depends on it.
I know the colors aren't the best, right? You know, we've got literally the Irish flag, which is not the most. It's a little clashing to the eyeballs, the Irish flag, you know, a bright green and a bright orange with white, and then whatever the hell I picked, you know. So it jumps out there, you know. It's not subtle, the Fighting Irish Faithful gear. It's pretty loud and in your face, but that's kind of what this show is, kind of, frankly. So, you know,
sort of like an Irishman.
We're the loud table at the bar.
White skin,
okay?
Green eyes.
Like, you walk into a loud sports bar, you're going to know that we're there from the get-go. That's who we are, right? We're yelling at the TV, we're pounding scotch, or in your case, tequila. We got the nachos rolling, we got hot wings, we're having a hot wing eating contest, and we're cheering for Notre Dame football, and we're, you know, yelling at Tommy Rees to run it more and stop passing, because Drew Pine is not Deshaun Watson. So let's just go from there. Justin Cates, I really appreciate you jumping on and supporting the show.
Man, big fan. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, take it easy. Cheers. Go Irish. At Justin Cates on the Twitter. Really appreciate you jumping on. Let's jump to someone new here. Actually not new, but at Miss Zoom Zoom 12. You've been invited to speak, unless you just want to listen to. But you've been patiently waiting and patiently listening. At Miss Zoom Zoom 12, if you wish to jump on to the Fighting Irish Faithful show, so be it. Out in Terre Haute, Indiana. If you want to listen, that's cool. If you want to speak, that's even better. I will say this, though. I've got to give my boy at 5 Pod, who's at an alleged surprise party. So that's okay. He's doing other family things. If you go to the 5 Pod and you go to his latest show he just recorded back when, he said that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. I take great offense to that. So Mike at 5 Pod, you're wrong. Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and we may just have to vote on this on Twitter and let the people speak. I will say this: a true Christmas movie has the birth of Jesus in it, and every single example of Christmas movie you gave on your show, none of them had the birth of Jesus. So if we really want to go by what Hollywood says as a Christmas movie, yeah, none of them actually count. So by that very nature, the quote unquote definition of Christmas movie is ambiguous. And since it is Christmas time in the time frame of said movie, that's why Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So prove me wrong and fight me. Okay, at faithful_Irish, Die Hard is a Christmas movie as we get closer to Thanksgiving. And no, we have zero Christmas decoration shit up this week. We don't do that until Advent. So, at Miss Zoom Zoom on the Twitter, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Yeah, right. It's okay to say no, but
Just listen tonight. I didn't see the game.
all you have to do is listen to the show, though, and you get the vibe that it was snowy and Notre Dame killed them.
Well, it's been snowy down here.
How come you're getting snow and we're not?
We got about an inch of snow last Saturday, and it was gone by Sunday. But we've had snow flurries off and on all week.
Huh.
And I don't like it. I moved out of New York to get away from that.
I was going to say, you moved out of New York. You know, like, this should be just like old hat, right?
Right. Well, I'm sorry. I still miss my days of Southern California.
Absolutely. Yeah. I won't lie. There are some days, especially come February or even March. March is always the weird weather where it's like, okay, St. Patty's Day, we should start getting ready for spring. And then, oh, it snowed again today. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Those are the days that get annoying for me. It's like, really?
At that point, I'm ready to go back to Southern California, get in my house in Moreno Valley where the sun was shining.
That's right. The good old days. The good old days.
Yes.
Well, Notre Dame, speaking of Southern California, Notre Dame is taking on the men of Troy next week. And Notre Dame right now is 8-3. What's your opinion of that? Or is it kind of a function of how SC does tonight against the Bruins of UCLA?
All I care about is that Notre Dame beats SC.
That's right. Amen. Amen.
I lived out there so many years with all of you that I don't really want them to win.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, what would our family be if there was, some random person that liked SC? I don't know who that person is, and if they are, they're totally still in the closet. Like they ain't coming out with that in our family.
We kind of had to be a little careful there, but the one that would have been an SC went to Notre Dame and played football at Notre Dame.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, no, I mean there's some good Notre Dame allegiance in the family, and certainly a mutual detestment of the I don't know if that's a word, but not very happy or zero smiles when it comes to SC. So
that's true. That's very true.
The game that was snowing super hard tonight. Is that like kind of the quintessential end of the season Notre Dame kind of thing?
No, if you play another game in South Bend, you're probably going to get more snow. But be thankful you're not playing in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's right. What are we getting, like 5 feet of snow tonight? I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they're not even. I don't even know if the Bills are going to be able to play up there.
I remember seeing that on the internet. That they're going to move the game somewhere else, and who knows? And like, don't get me wrong. If it's like a safety thing, or like, you got to call in the National Guard or whatever, and it's just like, okay, the people up in northern Canada are like, hold my beer here, but simultaneously, they don't play football in the winter, right? There's a reason why the CFL happens in the summer, right?
But I have sat in Bill's Stadium during blinding snowstorms, rainstorms when I lived back in New York, and it's like, this is common weather for Buffalo. This isn't anything new.
Yeah. What's changed, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm happy that the seniors get to go out with a very memorable moment, not only with blanking the Eagles of Boston College, but with having a snow game. One of my more memorable games was Notre Dame beating the crap out of Michigan my first year as a grad student in the rain. And then even the games that it wasn't snowing per se during the game, but it was cold, and there was snow, piled up in the corner of the end zone. That was the UConn and the Syracuse games. When I was unfortunately both were losses in the Weiss years.
Well, you have to be careful with me with the Syracuse game because that was one of the colleges I went to.
I mean, I have nothing nothing serious against Syracuse. I mean, they are who they are. In my mind, they're more of a basketball school. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, it's true, they are.
Yeah, right. So that's kind of like where my home base is with Syracuse. But at the same time, it's like when Notre Dame on senior night loses, and in that year in particular, which I believe was 2008. Notre Dame, should have just beaten the crap out of Syracuse, and it didn't happen. Notre Dame ends up losing by 1 point, 23-24. And then they go out to SC, and they get shellacked by 35 points, 38-3. So, so that wasn't good.
But no, the Syracuse is a basketball school.
Will do.
Has been.
Well, at Miss Zoom 12, we really appreciate your contribution to the show. You think Notre Dame's got to just keep the nose to the grindstone against the Trojans, or do you think that Notre Dame is going to, they're being underrated per se in the rankings, and they got the SC game in hand?
I think they're going to have to work for it, but I think they're going to get it.
Nice. That's what I like to hear. And with where we were beginning of the year, or even after the Stanford game, a Notre Dame team getting 9 wins this season, I think that's great. So, well,
I keep track of it through you.
Well, I'm happy I can be your stat person here. At Ms. Zoom12 on the Twitter. Really appreciate your contribution to the show. You are welcome anytime.
Well, I still listen to you every week, and I will contribute some.
Nice. Well, I thank you for your loyalty, and we will talk very soon.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Cheers. Thanks, Auntie.
Here.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That is at Miss Zoom 12, and yes, my aunt. So wonderful. All right, we got a new person here. Real Tony L 1775. You've been invited to speak. Hello, Tony.
Hey, yeah. First time being on here. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful show, live on Twitter Space, and we'll be on YouTube and all your podcast places. So if you need to speak in code, so whatever, just speak in code, that's cool. Or if you want to just be forthright and say Michigan sucks and they're overrated, that's cool too.
So I'm a Fighting Irish fan down here in Lithia, Florida, just outside of Tampa.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. So, the thing, great game tonight. I'd still kind of attribute the two losses to Marshall and Stanford. I think that's more coaching than anything. I think they were really trying to figure things out, just figure things out. I think the Ohio State thing, they were just, I think they just really rose to the occasion, and then, kind of maybe just let off the gas a little bit. But, everything is climbing. It's just accelerating for Notre Dame. And I'm really looking forward to the USC game. The Irish really have rose to the occasion against the ranked team. So I think they're going to, as your aunt said, they're going to have to, kind of earn that and go in there and work for it. But I think they'll beat USC. But, the one big thing I wanted to ask was, they said tonight Bo Bauer had 2 more years of eligibility left. And so, I mean, how many guys on the squad right now still have, a year or 2 left of eligibility, but, they're really seniors this year?
That's a great question. And the thing that really makes that hard is, other than just going to UND.com and just looking at the, roster and all that stuff, the COVID year really kind of throws things for a loop as far as like who has eligibility, because people kind of, get like a free pass of a year, because of COVID and all that, which is, in my opinion, the right thing for the NCAA to do, because some of these guys, especially if you're in the Pac-12 or one of these conferences, like a smaller conference that essentially canceled the season, it is kind of what it is. And, those guys, those athletes, those student athletes get that year back. At the same time, it's like, if I'm going through my roster and saying like, okay, what does this mean for us, and how many scholarships do we have, and who still has eligibility, and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, man, I don't know. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we're fans of Bo Bauer on this show. We refer to him as a sharp hockey skate. So that's cool. But yeah, like, and don't get me wrong, I want every player, anyone from Matt Salerno or Blake Grupe or to Isaiah Foskey or whatever. I want everyone to be successful at Notre Dame and have the opportunity to take their career to the next level, the NFL, what have you, if necessary. And, if some of these guys just, get an injury and they need to rest up and heal up, and then, then they have a breakout year, and so they get drafted and they make a lot of money and they do well for themselves and their family. Like, I'm cool with that. I got no issues with that from a, just stay for the bowl game. I'm looking at you, Kyle Hamilton. But my point is, like, look, Notre Dame, with these players and their eligibility, I genuinely don't know. And that's probably way too much time to spend on researching every single, 100 players or what. It's not quite 100 players, but it's a lot of guys on the roster of, okay, who has X number of years left? And I generally don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, one thing it'll come down to is, some guys just won't be ready to go up to the next level. They may never go, but they can still be a great player for the Irish, maybe even a starter. So Now you got to start balancing things, like you were saying, against scholarships and whatnot. Because we got the kid out of Pitt that decommitted from Pitt.
Yeah.
I mean, the quarterback room
Take
starts
that,
getting
brother-in-law.
Yeah. If he commits, as a 2023 guy, that room starts getting a little crowded. And CJ Carr is not, he's not coming in until 2024.
Yep.
But, Drew Pine, he still has eligibility left. And so, it's going to be really interesting to see, okay, if this guy can contribute and is a plus for us, okay, do we send him on his way or do we keep him? And man, that's a lot of balancing they'll have to do, because honestly, just the way things are going, I'm making an early prediction. Notre Dame's going to be definitely ranked in, I would say, probably top 7, if not the top 5 going into next season.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at our running back room, there's still tons of opportunity there. We got tons of depth at the offensive line. The quarterback situation. Let's skip quarterback for a second. Jump over to receivers, other than Mayer, but some of these other receivers are on the rise, so that's good. Defense looks like it's in good shape. We've got good recruits. Backfilling some of these seniors that are going to depart. And people like Foskey or Amiola or whomever is going to go to the NFL. And then you just jump over the quarterback situation. It's like, well, that's really the only quote unquote question mark. And with a, as you said, the top recruit, a 4-star recruit coming in Notre Dame, Tyler Buckner back from injury, and Drew Pine, he's got some experience under his belt, but he's kind of a known quantity at this point. He's not going to get taller in the off season.
Right.
Some of these other things, it's like, like that's a tough, decision for the coaching staff, but that's what they get paid millions of dollars to sort out. So that's really on them. Yeah, like that's really the one question mark, or the and a key bright star for Notre Dame that needs to be addressed. And Notre Dame going after a 4-star recruit in the current class, the 2023 class. Yeah, I got no issues with that. And if you want to, compare him to the other guys in the quarterback room, we kind of did that a little bit on Tuesday's show. So go back to the Tuesday show where we compare Minchney to Pine and Buckner and even Angeli, and where he kind of sits from a 24/7 sports composite, ranking as far as where he is in his class relative to these other guys, and, maybe it's apples to oranges. I don't know. But I will say this, Notre Dame does need a decent recruit, or we need to just have a killer running game and a super stout defense to really be, kind of like an Alabama team, that kind of rises and takes the program to the next level.
Yeah, I will tell you, I'm not worried about the quarterback room as being something to really worry about. I mean, because like you were saying, man, the defense is looking pretty good. The running game is just phenomenal, and I'm not worried about that. But it's like you were saying, on the quarterback piece, man. Okay, like Drew Pine, he manages the game very well. I mean, but like you said, he's not going to get any taller than 5'11". So. It's going to be a really interesting year next year. But, what they say every year, you're going to go after one quarterback per year usually, because that's just the nature of everything. But, you got some key guys that we're going to lose definitely on defense. But, man, I think the roster is just, it's pretty loaded. I think with Marcus Freeman and recruiting, it's just really – just night and day compared to when Brian Kelly was there.
It seems to be more of an active approach and a proactive approach to recruiting, where it's like, look, you just can't sit on your laurels and just be like, oh, well, we're Notre Dame and we have this kind of elitist personality and yeah, we're just so great and this is what we do because we're Notre Dame and, we're just going to get good people. There are some guys who will, embrace that, when they see, pictures of Father Ted and Martin Luther King and LaFortune when they're waiting in line for their subway and they're like, oh, this is what this university is about. Like, yeah, I'm with that. Or, guys who are Catholic or whatever. And you don't have to be Catholic to, want to go to Notre Dame.
Right.
For some people, that's a huge draw, but not for everybody. And, that's fine.
Yeah.
We welcome all people at Notre Dame. Well,
yeah,
I can say that with authority. I'm an alum. But, my point is this, even though I'm Catholic, but, look, Notre Dame needs to, they're competing in a different market because, look, most of the time, these guys, they're being recruited by high-end universities because of their football acumen, because of their talent as an athlete. And if Notre Dame isn't, winning New Year's Six bowls and winning playoff games or even winning titles for that matter, or, producing Heisman trophies, whatever, okay, you've got to approach it from a different angle. And if you got a coach that's persistent and says, look, come to Notre Dame, we'll make you better, this will set you up for the rest of your life, we'll get you in the NFL, we will try to provide you the best coaching possible in America, damn it, this is where you need to go. And at the end of the day, it's like, look, these guys are getting calls from LSU. They're getting calls from Alabama or Michigan, Ohio State. Pick your, top, 10 program in the last, 20 years. Notre Dame has nothing under its belt since, the Cotton Bowl of January 1st of 1994. For their team. We haven't won a New Year's Six bowl in crazy years. We got embarrassed in a national championship game. We've been to the playoffs a few times and nothing, no fruit was born and no wine was made from that vine. So that was an alcohol reference. But my point is, Notre Dame needs to try harder at the recruiting bit because nothing recruits better than just winning. If you're Alabama or, some of these other programs who have won recently, you can kind of, I don't want to say slack off, but you can kind of sit back and be like, yeah, we're one of the best teams in the country. Look at the titles over here. See the hardware in the trophy case? Yeah, we did that. You want to come here? Like, that speaks so much louder than a program like Notre Dame. Like, Notre Dame can be like, yeah, look at all these old Heisman trophies, and look at all these old, cool black and white photos on the wall here, and this grainy 4:3 aspect ratio of Lou Holtz, and like, we love Lou Holtz, but like, my point is, like, Notre Dame hasn't done anything in recent years to get these younger guys who maybe don't really know much about that to really get them excited, other than like, oh, Notre Dame, historically they've been good, but historically in recent years they haven't been good. So it's like, you do need someone like Coach Freeman to be very proactive in the recruiting bit, and I think it's great. And at the same time, it'd be one thing if he was doing a good job at recruiting and we weren't winning, but the fact that right now in his first year we have 8 wins, he's right now at the average for good coaches in their first year, and I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, when you go back to remember Tyrone Willingham, one of the things that did him in was he couldn't get off the Warren golf course to get out and recruit.
True. It's true.
But I'm not an alum there. I've been following Notre Dame since the 80s. I just lived in Northern Illinois. I was in the Marine Corps for 30 years.
Thank you for your service.
And I got some of my closest friends in the Marine Corps are Notre Dame grads. And there's just something about the leaders that get produced out of that university. It's always just resonated with me. Some of the same values, and I'm not a Catholic, but there's just something about that place. But I tell you, I remember Alohi Gillum. He said they said give me 4 for 40, and now that's turned give me 4 for forever.
Yeah,
and I think that says a lot, and especially in the era of the NIL, we're getting quality kids to come in there, and you know what? It's like we used to say in the Marine Corps. We want good kids coming to us, and we're going to return good citizens. Same thing in Notre Dame. So, I do think, from a football perspective, I think we're on the way. I've never felt this good during the Brian Kelly era. I mean, the Alabama, even the national championship, I was like, oh my gosh, can we beat these guys?
You were kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop in 2012, right?
Yeah, you were just like, this is great, but
you were kind of in disbelief. You kind of fooled yourself in 2012, like, oh yeah, of course we're gonna do well, right? Because it happened before. Pitt,
right? And my wife's like, you got this nervous grin on your face, and I'm just, oh man, I'm sweating, and but I don't feel that. There's something, I don't know. Maybe it's a cliche to use, but something magical starting to go on in the Freeman era.
That is what the 2012 season was. I will say this. The 2012 season, I look back with so much happiness up until that last game. And if you ever want to feel bad about yourself, or say if you were a boxer or like a fighter and you were getting ready for a fight and you were like on the bike or the treadmill warming up or whatever, if you put on the Notre Dame Alabama, BCS championship game to get ready for your fight, pray to God for your opponent, because my God, you go and watch that game and it's a terrible, terrible game. Yeah. From the get-go, Notre Dame gets smoked. I mean, we don't have to get all negative tonight, but because Notre Dame killed BC. But at the same time, it's like the magic of 2012, all of that evaporated within the first minute of that football game against Alabama.
Exactly.
And Eddie Lacy is just pummeling us, and there is nothing we can do but just sit there and go get more beer. There is nothing we could do. But right now, Notre Dame is far from that. That was 10 years ago, and Notre Dame kills Boston College 40-0. And if you don't like BC, like I don't, hey, you're feeling good about yourself.
Hey, well, it's great being on tonight. Thank you for having me on. I really enjoy this, and I'll be following you on going and subscribing on YouTube, and it's great.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Tony L at real Tony L 1775. It sounds very patriotic, like we're about to throw some tea into Boston Harbor and take it to the Redcoats, like Paul Revere here.
That's the birth year of the Marine Corps.
Ah, there you go. Well, we just threw you a follow here on Twitter. Tony at real Tony L 1775, Marine Corps veteran. Thank you for your service. Thank you for also contributing to the Fighting Irish Faithful show tonight.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Welcome, and you're welcome anytime. Thank you for jumping on. Justin, I see you. Lay, I'm Rock. We see you too, but we're going to jump over to Regisand 42, who's been very patiently waiting. Regisand 42. Guys, just hang tight. We'll get to you as soon as we can. Regisand 42, you've been invited to speak, and welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful show. We're just trying to go in order. People who've been waiting patiently, want to get them on. Let them cash their checks here as they're waiting in line at the post office. Regisand, go ahead and unmute yourself. Pink button, lower left-hand corner. Welcome to the show. Notre Dame defeating Boston College.
Glad to be here, although I will admit, I think you said your grandmother earlier, I did not watch the game. Uncle Sam said that.
I'm pretty sure my grandma, who's alive, did not watch the game. She was probably, she likes watching Storage Wars, which I think is kind of funny. But that was my aunt, actually, that was on earlier. So.
My apologies.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, similar to her.
She may. She's not one to send hate tweets, but she may just like roll her eyes and be like, I ain't that old, Aunt, you're not that old, I promise.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I couldn't watch the game. I watched like maybe a quarter of it, but I'm based off of the score. I'm happy to see that we won.
Yeah.
Though I am disappointed I didn't get to see the Snow Bowl.
That's pretty much what was happening. Anyone who turned the game on, after halftime, I highly recommend people checking that out. There's going to be some good file footage and still photographs. And at one point, I'm being, cocky and funny and saying like, "Damn it, NBC," because it's not quite a whiteout, but there was some serious snow flying in South Bend tonight.
I wish I could have seen it, though. I do have to comment something that you said about USC earlier.
That they suck. Oh.
Well, I mean that too, but I don't mean to. I don't mean to seem like a traitor here, but I don't take this the wrong way. But
that's okay. All opinions are welcome, even if you're an opposing fan, which I know you're not.
Personally, I would love South Carolina, USC to be top 10 so that we can smash them instead of UCLA.
Nice.
I mean, just in my opinion, would it be great if they lost? Okay. But it's just a different feeling beating a top 10 team.
Oh, sure.
Especially if it's them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, especially a team we like to hate. I mean, it's awesome when Notre Dame beats Clemson in our own stadium, and our fans rush the field, people like Adam Dowling or the students or whatever, like good stuff happens when we beat a team that at the time was ranked, top 5, top 4, right?
They were 4.
Yeah, so that feels good to do that, but to go on the road to a team we hate, our rival, who is the Trojans, you could argue Michigan in there, but I mean, if you ask Michigan people who's their rival, they're going to say Ohio State, fine, okay. It's probably one of the one of the few games that I actually quote unquote cheer for Ohio State because I hate Michigan, which is going to be next week. But my point is this, I'm with you, man. Like, I don't want USC to ever be ranked. I don't like that team, and I never equate Notre Dame's success with USC's success, and like if we beat them, that quote makes us look good. I'm like, I know mathematically and logic tells me that's the case, but I don't like this team, and I don't want them to be good. And yes, I still want to play them, even if they were trash. Because that's just my sick nature. Okay.
I kind of agree with you, but I think, as I said earlier, I mean, beating a top 10 team, and not only that, but spoiling their playoff hopes.
Oh, talk to me. Talk dirty to me.
I mean, because they still have a chance to make the playoff.
I mean, they let's put it this way. Ohio State's kind of in a dogfight. I think they're going to pull out ahead. Michigan looks suspect tonight. And one of those teams, either Michigan or Ohio State is definitely going to fall out of the rankings next week, right? Because they're playing each other. And then, TCU got a huge scare from Baylor again. So, let's figure that shit out. And if memory serves me right, Baylor defeated Kansas State in 2012 to knock Kansas State out the same night that Stanford beat Oregon, that allowed Notre Dame to go from number 3 ranking in the country to number 1. So that was kind of poetic right there, seeing that kind of shit happen, where Baylor potentially knocking off another team in purple, out of their potential playoff spot. So I will say this: I was happy to see TCU eke out a win, and their special teams come out and nail that field goal at the end. So I'm kind of looking forward to see TCU get into the playoffs. I won't lie. That's just my opinion. So and just because I like to see things mixed up,
Mm-hmm. If TCU does go to the playoffs, I hope they win the championship.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's again, I think it keeps things interesting. It keeps things fresh, and I mean, they're going to have huge challenge with Georgia because they're super good. But I mean, anything can happen, right? Anything
Indeed.
can happen.
Although I will say for Ohio State, I know you probably aren't watching the game, but
nope. We're podcasting instead.
Yeah, Maryland unfortunately just completely choked that game away. I don't know his first name, but I think he's Tua's cousin or brother. He dropped back to pass and he got hit, and in Ohio State, lineman took it in for the score. Ohio State unfortunately won 42-30. No, yeah, 42-33.
43-30 is what ESPN's telling me here. I'm jumping over here, and yay for having a computer that we can pull this stuff up live on the show. So, well, Regis Sand, we got a couple other people want to jump on here. Last thoughts here about Notre Dame defeating Boston College, the backup college, or what some other people have been saying, some explicitives on Twitter. We won't repeat them here, but some fun stuff.
I think most of all, I think it's a good, preparation game for USC. I mean, next week, I'm probably going to be trash talking all week. It's a big game, So, I mean, go Irish, beat Southern Cal.
Absolutely. Go Irish, beat Trojans. For me, this is the biggest game all year. I absolutely detest the Trojans, and we'll get a little into that here tonight. If anyone, and I will find the video and we will post it. If you've listened to this long live, or and thank you for everyone who's listening live, or if you're going to listen to this on the podcast version. Last year, going into the SC game, yes, that was a home game, so it was kind of mid-season. I ate a crazy hot chili pepper live on the show, and it was very painful. I don't quite regret it. It wasn't like as terrible as the one chip challenge. We won't talk about that. It was not a Carolina Reaper, but it was like a couple steps down from that. It was called a 7-pot lava yellow, and I ate it live on the show and then continued to talk about how much I hate USC. Don't ask me why I did it, but it was kind of a way of metaphorically and physically bringing my hatred and spitting fire with the Trojans live and on person. I don't think I'll be doing that again. Now, if you want to email me and send me a crazy hot pepper, I have been one to succumb to dares. I'll just put it that way. So, Regisand42 on the Twitter. Thank you for joining us on the Fighting Irish Faithful show. We don't ask for comments and questions like 5 Foot Nothing Pod. Apparently, you had like 20 questions for his show. But if anyone has a question you want me to answer, by all means, like I said, we're pretty easygoing here. We're the loud table at the bar here. All right, new person here, Lelemrock. I'm probably screwing that up. I'm trying to be all French, and I'm not French, but LELMROC on the Twitter. If you wish to join the Fighting Irish Faithful show, I'm Rock, or is that an L? I can't tell. You got the Big 12, Notre Dame, the Cubs, Alabama, at Lelemrock, college football, baseball enthusiast on the Twitter. If you wish to join the show live, welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful show.
Hey, I'm working right now, just listening, so don't harass me, man.
Oh, it's no harassment. If you wanna speak,
hey,
that's cool. If not, no big deal.
See, you're harassing me, man. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, good win. That was great, and then I got called out to work right after, so that sucks. So I'm listening.
No big deal. Well, thank you for supporting the economy, and I'm sure your employer speaks of it. We can speak in code if necessary. Well, if you just want to listen, that's cool too. Any final thoughts before we put you back on mute, or maybe you're already on mute? Nope, you giving me a thumbs up. That's cool. All right, you're giving me a thumbs up. We'll respect that. We'll jump over to Justin Roush at JRRRoush11. I think you're gonna close us down tonight. It's
Hey, by the way, I sent you a couple pictures.
Uh-oh. Should I be concerned? Are these private? I mean, it's out there on the podcast now, so.
No, they're in your message. They're hey, actually, they're culturally appropriate. You'll enjoy one of them.
Okay. We may have to share these, now that they're out there. All right, moving on. Thank you for sending me photos. Okay. Justin Roush at JRRRoush11. You are invited to speak.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
We're doing good. I think you're going to shut us down for the night. So, not that you need to bring something epic or witty here to the show, but this is the last. You're the last contributor people are going to remember on volume 78.
Well, good, because I want to kick this off because it's officially SC week, baby, and I love it.
All right.
I love it.
All right. How much do you hate USC? Can we talk about that?
Much.
I don't like that team.
So much.
I hate that
There's
team.
just everything I hate about from their ketchup and mustard fucking uniforms. Everything about it.
Yes,
it's
ketchup and mustard. We're writing this down. Ketchup and mustard.
Their logo on their helmet's just horrific. Yeah, I mean, their fans look like a bunch of Ronald McDonald's running around the fucking stadium. I can't stand them. Nothing.
Ketchup and mustard, Ronald McDonald. And I actually like McDonald's, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I do too. I'll give them that. But yeah, just their fans, everything.
Big Mac for life.
They got their beaches and everything's cool and whatever. And
they're such fair weather fans.
Are.
They're not real fans.
They're not. They're just like every other Southern.
And I talk shit to them, and I think we do need to give a special. And I'll send a DM to him at no suck with no USC. We're gonna have to give him some special time on Tuesday. We may actually move the show around his schedule just to get him some special time. This dude has been given a countdown every day, and I think it started during the year of COVID, of how many days it has been since USC beat Notre Dame. And he's got this countdown going, and we may have to highlight him on how much, like, it's that kind of stuff. And like everyone's not only pulling for Notre Dame, but we're kind of pulling for him in kind of a weird way so he can keep the count. Just keep rolling. Just keep it rolling, baby. Keep it rolling.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's talk about something real quick, though, just to shut it down. Like, this one feels just so much different than it has the last, whatever it's been now, that however many days, however many wins in a row, where it's like, we're going on the road, and we might be underdogs in this game. It's possible.
I think it's fair.
And we haven't been in that territory in a while. So it gets my blood going even more. I was at the SC game last year in South Bend. But when I walked in the stadium, it was just like, we're going to beat their ass. Like, this is the first time in a while I feel like we're playing an actual decent football team.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think this is, look, SC is kind of on the rise. They finally got rid of Clay Helton, which I was kind of disappointed because I was really enjoying beating the crap out of them. And simultaneously, it's like, look, the last team that beat Notre Dame was Sark, down in 2016, and went, Notre Dame's, arguably one of more recently worst years, to have them with Lincoln Riley, and they're doing okay. I'm very curious about their game versus their crosstown rival in UCLA. So go Bruins.
Absolutely.
I would rather SC lose to UCLA and then lose to Notre Dame rather than beat clearly never want them to beat Notre Dame, but beat UCLA and then lose to Notre Dame. You're like, no, I do not equate SC's success to Notre Dame's success. I get that in the mind of like the AP voters and maybe the playoff committee, but as a fan who does not like this team, I'd rather play an 0-11 USC team and then rub their nose in the dirt as we score touchdowns all over them. Like that's my opinion. Like I don't care about this team. Like I get the like if I take a non-bias approach, like, oh well, of course we want them to be good because then if we beat a good team, that makes us look better. Like I get all that, but emotionally, I can't buy into that. No, I hate this team and I want them to be terrible and I want UCLA to win. And being from LA, we always cheered for UCLA over USC. We never, ever cheered for USC. Maybe in the 1 year where they did get screwed out of the BCS, and that was, I think, 2003 or something. But that's like kind of 1 year just because it was kind of the writing was on the wall that they were a really good team. But that's kind of a different story. I didn't like cheer for them, but it was more like, I think they maybe got kind of screwed, but whatever. So that's the BCS years, that all that corruption is gone.
Sure. Yeah, it's crazy. I guess either way it goes. I mean, obviously we want UCLA to win. If they don't, though, man, what a stage for us to ruin them. God, it would just be so much fun. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but I'm pumped.
Absolutely. Now, Justin Rush, I have a very important question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
No.
What? You and 5-0 Pod, you guys can go take your anti-Christmas. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I saw your post and I saw his answer. And there was another guy that answered too. And I see the first time I watched it.
Define. Here's the problem with this.
I don't know.
I want someone to define a Christmas movie. Define what a Christmas movie is. Because look, I'm Catholic. If I take a Catholic viewpoint, a Christmas movie is the birth of Jesus. Any of these people who are like, oh, this is a real Christmas movie, like pick a Christmas Story or Christmas Vacation or Jingle All the Way, or even like flipping, what was it, Muppets Christmas Carol with Ebenezer Scrooge and all that shit, Kermit the Frog, right? There's no birth of Jesus in any of those movies. None of those movies. So that's not really a Christmas movie. Like seriously, it's like so the quote Christmas movie title has been ill-defined. And so therefore, because it's not properly defined, we can kind of make it whatever we want. And so therefore, within the context of the movie being Christmas-y or Christmas themed.
Yeah, Christmas themed.
Like that's like saying the movie Halloween is not a Halloween movie. What, just because they carved some jack-o'-lanterns and they threw that? anyone who knows anything about the first Halloween movie, and this is a shout out to the Wookiee, the first Halloween movie, the Halloween piece was kind of an afterthought. They were like, hey, let's just carve some pumpkins and throw them on there and just make it trick-or-treating, and that'll be like a different element. And then, wow, that actually like made the whole movie. Like don't get me wrong, Die Hard would exist as a movie without the Christmas Eve kind of timeline per se within the context of the movie, but at the same time, it makes it better. I'm just saying.
No, my wife's the same way.
No one is more passionate about this than me. All right, so Mike at 5 Foot Nothing Pod and Justin Roush. I'm sorry, you're wrong. All right, I will die on this hill. All right,
I'm gonna give you the dub on this one. I'll give you.
That's right. That's right. You know, I'm gonna pour myself a Jameson here. You know, to congratulate myself. Justin Roush. Let's get over to Adam Dowling. Hopefully, he's arrived safely home.
There he is.
He's thawed out. Well, hopefully, his truck is has got some heating. Otherwise, he's gonna be pissed at his dealer he bought the car from. But Justin Roush at JR Roush 11. Hope you can make it to the SC show. We hope for an epic show on Tuesday. The SC hate show. If anyone wants to just come on and scream F the Trojans and just take that, all are welcome.
That's right. Hey Adam, 4 straight quarters, baby. We got to do 4 more next week. Let's go Irish.
That's right, go Irish. Justin Roush, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Fighting Irish Faithful show. Adam Dowling, let's invite you to speak at Adam_Dowling1. Hopefully your reception is better at home. Are you home, sir?
I am home. I have just entered Crown Point, Indiana. Off the toll road.
Hooray! Home sweet home. Gotta find a way back home. Who is that? That's the Jaggers, I think. Anyway. Well, so you've thought out, hopefully. And how let me ask this question, because obviously this is a snow game. How many other snow games, like where it was actively snowing like that, have you been to?
And I have never been to a game that snowed like that.
Woo!
I've been to like some flurries, but nothing like that. No.
Nice. I mean,
I've been in some real cold games, like Bears games, where like your beer was freezing.
Sure.
But that's about it. I was nice. When I was real little, I was at that Penn State game when I was a little kid. I remember that, but it wasn't snowing or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean the snowball game kind of like we just got dumped in the second quarter and then it kind of went away, right?
Yeah.
This seemed a little more like drawn out. So.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, pretty fun, man.
Okay, so we got some Bears games in there. We got the snowball game from the early '90s. Okay, that's fair. Well, what do you think of the Irish? I mean, what a better way to close out, your last home game this season for them, right?
Yeah. Finally, like a 4-quarter game. Finally,
commanding victory.
They finally did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, and what I will say is this is kind of what we wanted the Navy game to be, where we come out really hard, come out and just dominate against our opponent. And first half looks fantastic, and then second half, in the Navy game, obviously we literally let Navy back in, but that's kind of expected with Navy. But in this game, it's a little different, where it's like, okay, we shut them down in the second half, and that's exactly what we hope and we always want.
Yeah, definitely. It was great. I mean, I got really nothing to complain about or say. It was just a solid victory. It was great to see.
Yeah. Well, I bet driving back home and pulling back into your driveway has never looked more promising, and we're happy we can accompany you on your final leg here back into the home front here. Go ahead and make yourself some hot chamomile tea and a hot toddy and a hot shower as you unpack the car. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yep. I'm pulling in the driveway now. I'm dropping off my friend Dustin, but let's do a little hate watch of USC and see what we got for next week.
Amen. That's right. Go Irish, beat Trojans, and go Irish, go Bruins, right? Everyone's a UCLA fan tonight. And if anyone's, hoping USC beats UCLA just because it, quote, makes us look better, whatever, right? You don't actually hate our opponent, so.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to get off real fast.
No worries, buddy. We're happy you made it safely home in the crazy snow. Have a good one. At Adam_Dowling from the Twitter, live from Northern Indiana, and a season ticket holder and a loyal supporter of the show. We really appreciate your feedback. Thank you, sir, very, very much. That's pretty much it, everyone. I mean, Notre Dame is victorious. I mean, we defeated Boston College and 44-0. Gosh, I mean, man, that's so great. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It's not Christmas yet, but hey, Thanksgiving's coming up, and it's I think appropriate to start talking about that kind of shit. I will say this. I haven't mentioned this here, but I wrote it down in the notes here. I do have a Boston College story. Real quick. When I was a student, my second year of grad school, 2009, Notre Dame played Boston College. It was a victory. Prior to the game, this is before the old hockey arena was built, the current hockey arena. That's where we used to tailgate. Long story short, us grad students, that's where we used to tailgate. My friend Dan, he had bought a shirt from one of the dudes walking around peddling shirts or whatever. Maybe it was for autistic children. Who knows? I have no idea what maybe the dude was just making cash. It's fine. Regardless, entrepreneurs, fine. It was a giant middle finger on a T-shirt and said Boston College, welcome to town. And my friend Dan buys one. All right, so that's kind of sets the tone. And of course, it was a great tailgate. It's cold and we're drinking alcohol, and that's what you do. Well, then, long story short, we get to the stadium, and my buddy Dan, and we're grad students, so we're in the stadium, right? And this is before the days of metal detectors, right? So this is before all of that, okay? And so you just get in, they scan your ticket, you get in. Okay, my buddy Dan, in his, coat pocket, his winter coat pocket, we're in the concourse, we're like in the by the concessions in the bathroom area. Okay, he pulls out a beer, like a Bud Light, doesn't matter, and he cracks it open, and the usher who's over by the student section, like by the tunnel, he sees this and he starts like swimming through students to get to him. And I'm like, dude, Dan, put that away. The ushers are gonna see you. They're gonna, dude, you're on your own. All right, you're doing this. I ain't going down for you or no one else. And so he gets carted off to a little jail in the stadium. Yes, there's a jail. It's also kind of a place for sick people or whatever. But regardless, that's kind of my Boston College story. So Dan gets carted off because he was dumb and he was trying to bring a beer into the stadium. And look, we've already talked about my opinion of what they should do about alcohol at Notre Dame Stadium just to make it a little more rowdy. But regardless, rules are rules, and especially in 2009, that was certainly not the rule then. So that's my little Boston College story. Also the intervention can story. So all right. Well, thank you, everyone. Anyone from Regisan to Adam Dowling to Justin Roush to Jamiko703, Miss Zoom Zoom, Justin Cates, at Real Tom L 1775, Leigh Lemrock, who's listening and not really contributing, but that's cool because you're working, and of course at Irish Tightness, Professor Emeritus. If you do not know who at Irish Tightness is, that's totally fine. This is the former host of at ND Fan Radio, and an epic podcast that they had been doing it for about 10 years, and they hung up their jerseys, and they had retired and said, you know what, we're kind of done, and totally fine, got no problem with that. And happy to have at Irish Tightness join the show. What an honor to have a legend in the podcasting, Notre Dame podcasting world, and on Twitter on the show. I am at faithful_Irish. We are happy for all of our contributors tonight. Very happy that everyone has supported the show. thank you, everyone, for joining us. Notre Dame defeats Boston College. We got one more game. Notre Dame versus the Trojans. The men of Troy. The boys of Troy. Let's get to it. Feel good about this win. Irish win, 44-0, beating Boston College. Let's get out there, celebrate, get ready for one more game, baby.
Throws the ball. It is caught. Reggie Brooks. Reggie Brooks got it for a two-pointer. And Notre Dame is out in front, 17-16. Lost the ball. The pass is batted down. It's batted down by Carroll.
It's caught by Samaja. Inside the 20. Inside the 10. He's going in. Notre Dame has scored. Dawson throws. Open receiver in the end zone. Touchdown. Notre Dame. Somehow the Irish did it.
Out of the pack, 30, 35. Goodbye, baby. At the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. 5-5 rocket touchdown. Irish.
Tyree. Whoa. Can he get there? Tyree at the 30, 20, 10. Touchdown, Notre Dame. Woo. 98. Big ones. Zibikowski looking for a block. Cuts to the right to the 40. Gets a block. Gets to the 45, 50. Up to the 45, 40, 30. One man to beat. 20, 15, 10. He's down to the 5. Touchdown, Irish.